oh my, the joys of going live. But hey ho, the Sunshine State of Florida is so much more than two major theme parks, particularly with its pristine coastlines, incredible marine life, and stunning driving routes like heading down Key West. Tonight we'll be chatting definitely about the parks, but also about the adventures that can be had when leaving the Orlando area. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's go. Well, good evening, everybody. If it could go wrong, it's going wrong this evening. That's absolutely just say that from the very off. But how are we doing? And welcome to Your Florida Adventures, the show where we talk travel news and we chat to our guests about their love of Florida and we find out their hints and tips to help you plan your next Florida trip. My name is Lewis. How are you doing? I am going to be your host for the next 60 minutes or so. It could be longer the way we're going right now. And first and foremost, I am a Florida fan and I go to the Sunshine State as regularly as I possibly can. And secondly, I run a travel agency called Your Great Adventures and we book travel all across the world, but we specialize in the US and particularly Florida. Now, as a fan of Florida, I love to speak to fellow fans and find out what takes them back to the most magical place on earth, time after time. And as I'm sure many of you guys know that are watching and listening, going to Florida can be daunting. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot that you can do. There's a lot of planning that needs to be done. And so over each week on a Tuesday night at the moment, we will be chatting live, as you can tell, to some brilliant guests to discover what makes them return to the Sunshine State and get their hints and tips for their best Florida trips. Now, whether you have been to Florida a number of times before or you're planning for your very, very first trip, I can tell you that this show will have something for you without a doubt. If you are watching live, God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'd love you to join in with the conversation. And if you have a question for our guests, please do drop them in the comments box. I'll do my utmost to have a look at them and ask them to our guests. So our guests tonight, well, what can I say about them? They are what I call the consummate travelers. They love to travel and they like to travel in style. Now, if you follow the NFL channel, you would have seen them. Now, the NFL channel is a bit confusing. I know we'll cover that in a minute. But if you follow the NFL channel, you will have seen them and you will know that they love traveling. They love all things the USA and they love all things Florida. Now, hopefully, by the power of technology, I am going to introduce you to Lisa and to Jamie.
It's working.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi guys, hi everyone.
Praise be.
I'm on the TV. Hi mum.
Oh dear. Well, like I said, if it had gone wrong, it did there. And I'm really sorry, Lisa. In our very first broadcast, you were kind of stuck on the screen, sort of looking a bit kind of like a rabbit in the headlights, and I'm really apologise for that. But hey, like I say, it's live, and that's this should be on, like, you know, You've Been Framed or something at some point. I might get 150 quid or 250 quid. Who knows? Who knows? Yes, it's worked. It's worked. People are on there going, it's worked. It's worked. So we've got lots of lovely people online saying hello. So hi to Jenny and Danny and Facebook user. So yes, it's great to have you guys here with us, and thank you for joining me, Lisa and Jamie. I just really appreciate the fact that you've taken the time out of your day to talk travel. And let's face it, you guys love to travel, right? I mean, is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, definitely. And firstly, yeah, thanks for having us on here. We've watched the other ones, and yeah, really excited to come on and share hopefully some tips that will be helpful. But traveling is definitely something we do a lot of. I do a lot for work, and Jamie, I think, has an addiction to booking holidays. So yeah, definitely something we love doing.
Well, we'll absolutely come on to that. But Jamie, what is it about traveling that you guys love doing? What is it?
I think for us, it's it's that escapism. It's getting to see other cultures, meet other people, have fun while we're at it. Yeah, even more so at the moment, like we're all itching to get back and get out when we can, when it's right. But for us, it definitely, we have a tendency to live for our holidays, and I think that's shown when we go on holiday and when Lisa actually edits some of her vlogs. So some people might think that we push the boat out, but that's what we live for. We have the ability to do these things, and we love it.
Yeah, too right. And if it's your passion and it's your love, then why not go all in, really? And so obviously we talk about Florida in this show, and I know that you guys have been to Florida a few times. So Lisa, could you just kind of tell us about what Florida means to you guys? What the love is all about?
Yeah, of course. Just firstly, Jamie and I are married and in the same house, just so you know. We've not fallen out just yet.
Yeah.
But we're just on separate screens for sound issues. But yeah, so he's gonna come and wave now. There he is. But for us, Florida is pure escapism. We were one of those couples, like I'm sure a lot of people, that the first time we went, it was a friend of ours that said, come to Florida, and he used to go every year, and we were like, we won't be those people that go back all the time. We'll go once, do it, tick it off. And then here we are kind of quite a few times later, and for us is that escapism of feeling like being a child and not having a care in the world. And we were talking about this the other night about why do we love it, and one of the things is just around when you go on holiday somewhere new, you have to work out where's good to eat, where's good to go by the pool, and what's fun. And while we love exploring new places, we also know we're going to have an amazing time in Florida, and that's guaranteed, and there's always new things happening. So for us, the fact that it keeps evolving,
trying to find something new, which is exactly what we hope to achieve this evening. So, Jamie, how many times have you ventured down to the Sunshine State? And when exactly was your first trip?
I'm glad you're asking me that, because I have no idea. No, I'm joking. So, this is one that Lisa's like. I think we've been 7 times. The first time was way back in 2009. But yeah, what was the question? I'm
no, I think you pretty much answered it. Yeah, how many times have you been, and what was when was the first year? And so, as you are the booker of the trips, I take it, Jamie. How has your visits changed over those years?
So, from a booking perspective, the first one initially was we done through travel counsellors. So probably similar to yourself, an independent travel agent. You get that bespoke sort of service. Then I've tried to do it a bit myself, booking flights and villas and all hotels, trying to find the best deal. But up until recently, a bit more around, with COVID and everything that's happening there, you want that reassurances. And then we've kind of gone back to agents again. So it is a case of having that ABTA and ATOL protection just gives you a bit of peace of mind. So I do like to look for deals. Now, if I can work with an agent to say, well, I found this flight and that flight, what can you do? That's the best way of doing it. Whereas if you're walking off the high street, you go to a supermarket, not a supermarket, but you go to a regular travel agent, they probably don't have that flexibility. So I still recommend a lot of the independent travel people, just because they can work with your itinerary better. and that's the best way. We get the best price, and we get the flexibility of going, this is what you can get for your money, which is the best way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've already said this to you guys offline that I would love you to be my clients, because, like, seriously, you guys travel so much, so that would be amazing. But there's no pressure. I'm just saying. And but actually, you're right, Jamie. You know, it's the best way to use an agent. Actually, is to go in and say, "This is what I want. What can you do? You know, what can you do better?" Because what the people do. A lot of people do is come in and to say, I want to go to Florida, but I don't really know what I want. And then you're going backwards and forwards. You know, we say it all the time. Have an idea, have a bit of a plan yourself as to, you know, what you want to achieve out of your trip. And, you know, you will always get something slightly better than that way, because you've actually made that, we've done that research yourself. So yeah, so that's a really good point. And do you prefer which, I mean, I think you kind of stayed all types of ways. You've stayed on site villas. Which is the kind of way that you prefer to travel to Florida specifically? Let's talk about that first, and then we'll talk about your other travels as well.
Yeah, for me, we've actually only done a Disney site stay once a few years ago, and we were meant to do one last year, which was going to be a really big one and was really planned, and I'm still grieving that holiday at the moment. But that, for us, you know, we've only done that on-site stay once for Disney, and we've done a couple of Universal holidays. But I quite like having a villa, because I like being able to get back from the parks at the end of the day and having like a sofa to sit on, for example, rather than eating snacks on the bed, and, you know, having the option of, you know, ordering takeaway to their villa. And, you know, we've done that quite a few times. So I quite like that flexibility of a villa, but obviously the payoff of staying on site sometimes too. I think it depends on your plans, but, you know, for me, maybe it's familiarity. I quite like having a villa and that home away from home.
We do the same, where we split. We'll split it as well. I think it's probably worth pointing out is a lot of the times we'll do maybe a block period of 7 to 10 days at Disney, and then we might do 4 days at Universal, or we might split it 7 and 7. But we do that sort of split sometimes, and we don't mind moving hotels midway through just to give us that option, and, you know, reap the benefits of both Disney and Universal at both their parks. Although sometimes, like I say, you just can't be a villa for that, just rest and relaxation. So I tend to prefer on-site more than Lisa does. I think Lisa prefers villas more than I do. But, you know, that's why we're all different and we do everything.
Absolutely. I mean, another great tip really is actually quite a good way to save money. And if you want to stay on site but save a bit of money, you know, do a multi-center, essentially do a week in villa and a week on site, or, you know, 4 or 5 days on site and then the rest in the villa. That's just a really good way of saving your cash, but having that kind of flexibility and freedom. And you also take advantage of what was the benefits of Disney at the time, or Universal more so, but now probably not so much. But something for another day, really, I guess. So, but you know, you don't only do Florida. You travel extensively. At least you already said you travel for work, but we know you have a passion. But you travel mostly. Is it the US that you travel mostly?
Yeah, I think certainly, if, you know, from our vlogs point of view, there's probably more US travel on our vlogs, just from when we started documenting the holidays. But we've done, you know, quite a lot. I mean, Jamie mentioned before about us moving around a lot on holiday, and we are quite partial to doing a road trip and taking in loads of different cities on one trip, especially in the US, where you've got so much choice. And, you know, we've done kind of a West Coast route, we've done the Southern route. And, you know, I really like going to New York. You know, Jamie, you know, likes it, but not quite as much as I do. But we also like to explore other places, and maybe Jamie can take the next one, because he's the one that probably pushes me to go to new places, don't you?
Yeah, very much so. And it is that I just love meeting people. I just love seeing how different people act and react, and none more so than America, because it's so diverse. And you just 20 minutes down the road, you've got different accent, different type of person. As I said, there's so much to see and do across there, but we still find ourselves finishing up in Florida. So,
yeah. So the last vlog that I watched, and which was put on, Lisa, and maybe we can just quickly. I know we're kind of moving around a little bit here, but we can talk about the channel as well. The last vlog I watched was the Tennessee. Was it Tennessee?
Yep.
Yes, and Memphis, and then you were driving down from Memphis
from Nashville to
Orlando.
Florida.
Went a bit early from Nashville to Florida. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So that's the kind of trip that you do, those kind of long road trips, and quite a bit of driving in there as well. Is that, I guess that's the way that you explore the countries.
Yeah, I mean, that one was slightly different, just because we actually weren't planning to go to Florida on that trip at all. And when we booked it, we were starting in Dallas and ending in New Orleans originally. And then around that time, BA were having their strikes. So we had to, they cancelled our return flight from New Orleans. So we had to frantically, I say we, this is Jamie, had to frantically then rebook everything. And as a joke and passing comment, I was like, well, does this mean we can go to Florida after all? Because we weren't planning on going to Florida that year. And at the time, I knew, there was a few people out there, vloggers that we followed, Spoonful of Sugar, Will and Lely, and we knew Del and Jen were out there as well. And I was getting a bit of FOMO about Halloween Horror Nights. So Jamie then, looked at flight options and found us a flight back from Miami, actually via Madrid as well. And that was a whole other story. But actually, the thing that we found with that one is, we like to explore new places. We were in Nashville, and unfortunately, we didn't get to stay there as long as we would have liked because of Hurricane Dorian. And Jamie actually made a comment at the weekend that I think we're the only people that drove towards a hurricane rather than away. But for us, we looked at what was happening and where it was likely to hit, and we knew that if we could get to the Aventura or to Disney property, we knew they'd look after us, and we knew that they were equipped to, deal with that type of thing. So, for us, it was weighing up those risks. But absolutely, I mean, that was exceptional, the amount of miles that Jamie drove that day. But it isn't unusual for us to do several hours of driving a day, and I really like being a passenger, and luckily Jamie really likes driving in the US because I don't find it quite as relaxing as he does.
Well, I mean, let's just move on to sorry, Jamie, say that again.
I said it beats going around the M25 when it's busy anyway. So.
Well, absolutely. So let's just move on to actually before we move to car hire and stuff like that, because I know that that'd be quite a good thing to discuss. Jamie, have you actually done your ideal road trip in the US yet, or is there still something you would really love to do?
Road trip? No, partially. I would still like to do the usual, the Route 66 from Chicago all the way down to Santa Monica Pier in LA. But we've kind of done Vegas to that. But I'd still rather do that middle bit. Or usual get a train across the Rockies. That's the sort of one part we haven't done yet. Obviously, I can't drive that necessarily, and so I learned to drive a train, which Lisa's probably hoping I don't take up that hobby as well. So that's probably the ultimate for me, is to do the Mother Road, get on Route 66 all the way through. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Route 66 is a very, very popular thing to do, but you need a bit of time to do it. So I would love to do that too, absolutely. And let's just quickly talk about car hire, because Jamie, you love to drive out there. So could you give the guys some hints and tips on a car hire, how to make the most of your car hire, especially when you kind of get into the airport and in collection, etc., and how you find driving, and any tips for driving in the States?
Yeah, so I think probably one of the main ones is probably a bugbear of many is you always worry when booking a hire car you're going to get, especially in America, you're going to get this haggle at the desk of you need this insurance or we don't have that car and you need to have an upgrade and you sometimes just have to be firm. But we found more recently you can do these online check-in like you can with flights, but do an online check-in for cars. If you get all your paperwork in order before you go, you can literally skip that counter and go straight out to the car garage, jump in a car and then go to the gate. And literally you hand over your ticket, your credit card as usual, and you're out. And you don't have anything to worry about. And that's probably that's the best thing that they've done in Florida specifically. You can do it in Miami, you can do it in Orlando, but Orlando's got it to a T. We tend to use Alamo, and it is just so much easier. It takes all the worry out when you know that you've booked beforehand with all the insurances you need. You don't need any extra. So that's probably by far the best thing is get the online check-in done for the car. And then when it comes to driving out there, like originally we took our own sat navs. We generally don't hire the sat nav for the car. But more recently, we've just used our phones and then set up, make sure we've got a roaming SIM, or we may buy a T-Mobile SIM when we're over there. But generally, we use our own SIM because you get free that over there. That generally gives us something like Waze or Google Maps. When it comes to driving, airports are a pain anyway. Airports are horrible whether you're at, well, no, they're awesome places, they take us places, but they're horrible to drive around. Orlando's no different. It's just a continuous loop and you go around in circles and circles and circles, and then eventually you come off the right one. That's the same at Heathrow, Gatwick, you name it. Gatwick's a bit easier, but mostly that's where you can have those problems. But obviously then tolls, we follow the SunPass scheme. So you can, on hire cars, you can literally go through the SunPass scheme. As long as you've got a credit card on file, it might cost you $1 or $2 extra, but it takes the pain of actually having the right cash and going through the cash tolls, and there's less of those now. So it takes it away. Actual driving, I think it's easier. The roads are wider. They're still in mile an hour. Yes, it's on the wrong side of the road, according to us, but I don't actually find it a problem. I think Lisa's even driven over there, and judging by the number of speeding tickets she gets in the UK, she hasn't been pulled over yet over there. So even it's fine for her.
He's brave because he's in another room.
Well, yeah, that's it. I knew you were going to say that. So yeah, it's somebody. So just kind of mentioned here. We also have gold car hire car insurance. They never hassle us. Then we've never experienced the hard sell in Orlando. So yeah,
that's a fair point. Yeah, we don't. But most people are scared. They think they're going to get the hard sell, and they're having that option to skip it is sometimes enough because they don't do it much anymore. We've had it when we went to Texas where you couldn't do check-in, and they don't necessarily press you anymore. But even so, we don't like talking to people either. I'd rather just get in and out and run through and not stand in that queue. So there's different bits and pieces.
Yeah. So Anthony also just says, can you just explain how the tolls work?
So yeah, you've got the SunPass scheme over there. There's also the Florida toll system as well. But with the hire car, generally they have a piece where it's included in the hire car cost where you have access to that SunPass system. So you don't actually need to get a tag. You can literally just go through with the hire car through the SunPass tolls. So you just literally drive in the correct lane. It says SunPass, go through it without stopping. And what they do is they'll bill your card at the end of the hire, but usually it's about a month later, and they'll charge you the fee for going through, and then there's like a daily sort of admin charge, but there's a maximum fee. And generally we find by the time we come home, we're probably spending no more than, if I said £30 on tolls, I'd be doing a disservice to everybody because it'd be considerably less than that. You got to remember we go down to Miami quite often to go diving, so I'm going down quite a few toll roads. But I would be hard pushed to say you wouldn't spend any more than $20. And for the convenience of not having to find the right change or going through the little cash toll booths, to just drive through as if you're anything else, that's fine. You don't do anything. You just get a credit card charge of $20, then you get a receipt from Alamo or whoever that says this was for your tolls. And because there's that maximum limit, it sort of gives you peace of mind that you're never going to go over that.
Yeah. No, I got the limits are there definitely is a maximum, and it's not horrific by any means. So you don't get stung like you might have done in the past, where you're just paying toll after toll after toll, or and just be very wary, I guess, about the car hire companies that you're using. So go for the major brands. I would say Alamo, Avis, Budget, even. Just keep and just check out their T's and C's as well, because you just don't want to be caught out with any hidden charges. So that's just always a good thing to check. So you've talked about, that's quite a good segue there, Jamie. Thank you very much. You talked about doing different things like diving. Lisa, you don't just do the parks when you're in Florida, do you? You do like to kind of get out and do some different things. What kind of other things do you guys tend to do?
Yeah, I mean, we do like to kind of have a break from the parks, because as much as we love them, it's nice to kind of get away sometimes and get some respite. For us, well, for me, I really like shopping, and Jamie tolerates the shopping, and doesn't mind kind of going through it around the outlets as well. I'm particularly, anyone who follows me on social media will know I'm partial to a Kate Spade handbag, or two, as many as I can convince Jamie that I need. So yeah, we like to do some shopping and eating out of the parks. There's a lot of restaurants that we have gone back to quite a few times and explored new ones. And because we've stayed in villas predominantly, we've often outside of the parks, and it's only more recently we've been trying kind of on-site dining in more recent trips, and trying those out. So that's been really fun. And then Jamie's probably the more kind of action man. He will go and do like diving and things, and I'll be relaxing. But we've also done Kennedy Space Center. We've done like airboat rides, along on the creeks and things. So we like to explore everywhere kind of nearby, and we were fortunate enough on a few trips ago to watch one of the rocket launches, and that was amazing to see. And I never thought I'd be one of those people that was into that, but it was just incredible to be able to see from a distance.
So how did that come about? Was it just sheer luck that you were there at the time, Jamie, or was it kind of did you know it was going to happen before you left, and so you made plans for it?
We knew before we left that there was a chance that there was going to be something. I think we got scrubbed one of the days, but it is more pot luck. But so when you're there, you can have a look at the Kennedy Space Center website, and they sort of tell you when there's stuff happening. So we didn't plan to do it on purpose, but it's nice to have that sudden choice of going, actually, yeah, we can drive over there and see it in the morning. And you got I think it's Titusville. I never know how to pronounce some of these American villages. That's the main village just before you get to that coast. And like I say, there's plenty of places. There's loads of people like you, so it's just nice to capture something different. And obviously, I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to rockets and stuff.
You like your technology, don't you?
Yeah. I was like, look, I tell you, it's like, look, there's a rocket there as well.
Hey, well, there you go. There you go. And so, Jane, you love to do a bit of diving. Can you just explain the process that you do? Because you don't do it locally to Orlando, do you?
No. So I am a PADI. I'm now a PADI advanced diver, but that's kind of irrelevant. As long as you've got a certificate, whether you're PADI or NAUI or BASC or something along those lines, you're fine as long as you've got your cards. But I actually drive down to Jupiter, which is sort of, some might go boo, near where Trump's sort of heaven is down in Florida. But Jupiter's an awesome little place to go diving. It's about 2.5 hour drive down, go down in the morning. I'll spend, we do 2 dives, which will be 3 hours total by the time you get on the boat, go out, you do probably a 40-minute dive, come back up, 20 minutes, and then another 40-minute dive down. The good thing about the Atlantic coast is because it's that side of it, because you've got the mix of the Gulf Coast and the Atlantic, you get a mixture of cold and warm water. So you get a lot of sharks. Now, Lisa didn't know that I was going shark diving, but you still get a lot of sharks down there. But we're not in a cage. And so I very much, if you're into diving, some of it can be quite fun and varied in South Florida. on one side you've got the Gulf Coast, you've got the Keys, and then you've got the Atlantic, and there's some brilliant diving out that way. But like I say, you just got to put the effort in to say, I'm going to jump in the car, drive off, leave Lisa at the park, go and have some fun myself, jump in the car, come home, and pick up Lisa later on in the day. So we get that sort of.
It means I can go and buy plenty of Spirit jerseys while he's gone, and with no judgment.
Especially because I'm paying to go diving.
It's got to be done, though. It's got to be done.
Exactly.
I'm going to cover you up with. I'm going to cover you up with a picture right now, and so do excuse me, but I'm going to show this picture of going to Key West. Can you just tell us a little bit about the journey that you had, and how you found that?
Yeah, we did. That was part of a road trip. Again, a multi-stay holiday where we started in New York, did a few days, flew down to Orlando, and then did, a little bit of time, in the parks. Went to Marco Island, then the Keys, then Miami, and that drive down to the Keys was incredible. Across all those bridges and just that water either side, and it was such an amazing place to be. It was so relaxing, and just kind of being by the water down there, having a drink and watching the world go by. It was a really nice vibe kind of to the place, and it was really nice to see kind of that side of Florida. Jamie, I don't know if you can remember how far the the bridges go. There's however many miles it is, but it goes on forever.
7-mile bridge, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a bridge that's connected.
Yeah.
It's a lovely place to be. We went Orlando, then down towards Naples onto Marco Island, which is a bit of a hidden gem that nobody knows about because you've got nice, you've got white beaches, warm sea, and then we swung around and went to the bottom of the Keys. But like I say, it was just, it's a long road to drive down, but you've just taken so much. I think it's one of those ones where you just don't appreciate you're in the Caribbean, but you're not. You're in Florida still, but you are in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
With everything from roosters running around the floor to the wooden huts and everything. You're like, this is insane. The one thing I would say about the Keys is just double check when you go, because depending on what sort of interesting things you're into, there's one part of the year that you need to be a bit wary of from an adult playground point of view. But otherwise, it's fine. They have one thing that's a bit right. We didn't go then, by the way.
Right. Okay, understood. Okay.
Anyway, bye, Danny.
Understood. Yeah, Danny's gone. But so how did you do that in one go? Sorry, I didn't quite gather whether you did that in one trip or did you stay on the way through?
We did New York a couple of days, then we went to Orlando for a few days, and then we drove down from Orlando to Marco Island, and we did 2 nights there. And then from Marco Island, went across the bottom panhandle. Well, it's not really the panhandle part, but the bottom part of Miami. And then we drove down to Key West. So we did Marco to Key West all in one go. And then we spent the last 3 or 4 days in Key West. And then we went back up to Miami, where we spent a few nights there. Just to sort of see all the little villages and the bits in between.
Well, gotcha. Yeah. No, I mean, so are there places you can stay in the Keys? Can you stop and did you even research hotels on the way through so you could stop and just sort of mill around, or is it just not worth doing?
Yeah, we there was plenty of places you could stay. So there's the different parts of it. I know one of them was like Key Largo, and you got kind of, as you're driving through, there's some smaller kind of, I don't know if they're called villages, but kind of smaller parts of the island, and then you go onto a bridge and then you go to the next bit, and some bits are bigger than others. And we just wanted to say we'd been as far as we possibly can, and we'd pre-booked our hotel, so we didn't have to worry about kind of booking it. But there were some beautiful hotels and lodges on the way down that I'm sure there's plenty of places, but we're kind of planners, and only on a few of our road trips have we ever left it that we'll just see what happens, and we have done that, but we're definitely more planning people, so we had already pre-booked that.
Right. I mean, that makes absolute sense. Thank you for clearing that up for me, because I mean, as an agent, you kind of expected to know everything, but you kind of, I don't. So, but so let's go back up to Orlando now and talk about the parks and what you guys do there. So, what are your favorite parks? Do you have a specific favorite? Are you more Disney, Universal kind of people?
I'm more Disney, I think, and Jamie is more Universal. For me, I love Universal, but Disney and specifically Magic Kingdom is my favorite. For me, that's my first day and my last day of the holiday, to go to see the castle. And I know people do it all in different orders of the different days, but for me, there's something about doing that day first, seeing the castle, kicking off the holiday. So that's my favorite, in terms of the parks. And Jamie, I think you're more Universal, would you say?
Yeah, I think I would say that it's hard to say. It's a more grown-up park, I would say, but that's unfair now. I think because all of them are getting some great stuff. Like Disney with the Marvel sort of tie-up, it's starting to become a lot better there with Star Wars and everything else. But I'm still a bit of a roller coaster geek, so you've still got to sit there. I think Hulk. Can't wait to get on the roller coaster when we get over there. But that said, it may be a bit scandalous, but you still got. I think Mako is probably one of the best rides in the world, and definitely one of the best ones over in Florida. But we know some people don't necessarily like that part, and we're not necessarily keen on that side of things. One of you, I think Mako. I think personally. That's sort of my favorite.
Yeah, we obviously we love both the parks, and we love the we're more, I guess, as a family, we're more Disney than Universal, because when we've been going out there, our kids have been younger, but I can tell that we're definitely going to be more of a Universal family going forward, and purely for that kind of more of the thrill rides type of things. So we saw a couple of pictures there, and I noticed that you're not always alone. Do you normally travel alone, or do you like traveling with friends and family, or how does, because some people just want to go, I just want to go on holiday with with the family, but
Yeah.
do you prefer to go with friends?
I think it's nice to share kind of the love of Florida with people, and I think that's why we end up, if we are going on holiday with other people, it tends to be Florida. And I think part of that is our family see. The reason we started the vlogs was to share our holidays with our families and to relive it ourselves. And by doing that, then they see how much fun it is, and then they're like, well, next time you go, like, let us know and we might come. And that's how it came about. The picture you saw in Universal is Jamie's brother, his partner, and our niece, and we had like the best time. Then we went quite early in the year, like February, March time, and then in some of our vlogs, my friend Katie came with us. But both times, Jamie's family and my friend Katie, they've said, you plan it, like, we're happy to go with the flow, what you're doing. And they kind of take advantage of the fact that, I think then, because we've been there a few times, they know they'll probably get the best of, what you need to in a trip. And, they've been quite happy to come with us, and we love sharing it. And I remember it's in one of the vlogs, but the first time Katie walked into Hogwarts, like, that's special for like us as well, seeing it through someone else's eyes. And I get goosebumps now just thinking about that, because we knew how excited she was to see it, and being able to share your love with someone else, I think, is exciting.
Yeah, I agree with Paula and you on that as well. Like, even
Jamie, I don't know if it's just me, I can't hear you properly.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Just
It's
about.
very muffled, Jamie.
Yeah.
The way things are. Is that any better or not?
Okay. Okay. Modern technology.
Yeah. So
There's
I'm
only
just
about-
going to show you. Oh, there you go. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I've changed the mic now, so you're now not on my headphones. You're up the mic up there, so that's fine. But okay, I know what we asked anyway, so that's fine. I think actually, to be fair, sometimes it's even Lisa needs numbers. She can only put up with me for so long, and my antics when I'm running around the park. So sometimes it is nice like that. I do put a big caveat when we have people coming with us. It's like you just have to accept that I'm going to be planning this, and I think that that's the point that's key. Is that we have a high itinerary, and we go, this is what we're planning to do each day. If you don't want to be part of it, that's fine. You can do what you want to do. But actually, this is how much of a schedule you kind of need to get through everything you want. So it can be quite intense, but you have to almost set that right up front. It's like, if you don't agree to it, then we'll go on our own. But you do your own thing. But this is, you have to. I think you've got to be quite strict on a Disney park to really maximise the best time out of it. But it kind of works.
I agree.
I agree with what Anthony was saying there about. Sorry, I was just going to say about Katie and the plane seat. That's one of my favourite bits in one of the vlogs, and it was hilarious the way she kind of got on the plane, was sat there, and just literally pulled the side of the seat off, and it was like, "What have you done?" And she's like, "It wasn't me."
That's Dale's nightmare, isn't it? As well, that's Dale's like, that woman has broke the plane. I'm not going.
I watched that again for the third time today, and I just laughed so much. It is a bit of a laugh out loud moment. We have a Facebook user. We don't know who you are, but agreeing with you, Jamie, that Mako is amazing, and Paula has said that she agrees with you, Lisa. Magic Kingdom. Firstly, in the castle is an emotional thing, and it feels like you're home. And I think we can all totally appreciate that and agree with that. So let's get on to the real hints and tips bit of the show. So you've done Florida, and you've done the parks now for 6 times. I think you said, is that right? 6 times, maybe
7,
maybe more, and 7 times, and. When now looking back, what would you say to the person that's kind of planning for the first time? What would your top tips be for somebody that's planning very first time?
For me, if I think back to that first time we ever went, now I don't know, I don't recognize us back then because we had no plan and we just rocked up to the parks, no reservations, no fast passes, nothing, and I can't imagine doing that now. And I think that's because, we appreciate there's a lot to do. So, my biggest tip is to plan, in advance. And, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea to plan as much as others do. But I think if you want to make sure you get kind of your money's worth and you get to tick off the things that you really want to do, it's important. And one thing that we've done in the past, which I really recommend, is the Keys to the Kingdom. We paid to do that as part of our wedding anniversary when we were out there. And honestly, it's one of the best things we've ever done. I'd do it again, even though I've done it before. And the biggest question we got when we did that from anyone that watched the vlogs or friends was, doesn't it ruin the magic? And I can honestly say, if anything, it enhanced it for me. You to have more of a appreciation for everything that goes into the parks. I think, stupid things like we'll notice lightning rods on top of buildings, which we never would have seen before. And there's loads.
It's like the way that they get there in character, and they pop out in character in Frontierland, because you won't see a cowboy in Fantasyland, and it's the little things like that. I appreciate we don't have children. So for us, it's slightly different. I say I wouldn't necessarily recommend Keys to the Kingdom as a first visit, but certainly for us, it's a good one to go to as an adult to sort of understand behind the scenes what's going on, and it's really interesting. I think that's true. For me, I think one of the tips I would say is don't worry about being overwhelmed. You will get, on your first visit, you are going to be overwhelmed. You know, there's a lot of things to see and do, and take it in your stride a little bit. I like what Paul has put on the comments about I thought it was like, what's your favourite ride at East Park? But it's not, she meant, what is your favourite ride at East Park? So sorry, I'm not going to answer that one. But for me, it's you know, you can, as a planner, I like to watch other people to sort of understand what I want to do. So I will look at a few other vlogs. Now, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't let my kids watch it if I had any, and I wouldn't let Lisa watch it. But me as a planner, I'd say, well, this is what I think I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I'll look at, you know, Get Binky. I'll look at Lisa's channel, for example, just because I'm so funny in it. Or I'd go and see a few other vlogs just to sort of understand what's going on. You can't help that experience from other people. And I would definitely look at a bit of a planner and sketch it out. And don't be too worried if you go off plan. But certainly just plan out, okay, this is what we think we're going to do the first few days, that Magic Kingdom, that first day. Maybe that third day I'll do that, plan a bit of a break. But just have something that you feel I'll be happy with. You don't need to be mental like we literally do day 1, day 2, day 3. We go through a complete Excel file. But for your first time, I would say just get the basics roped out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come back to that. But Auntie says something which I totally agree with, and that is plan rest days. You need to have a rest day. You've got to. It's key. Otherwise, you'll completely burn yourselves out. So that's a real.
Absolutely.
Really
I'm just gonna
point there.
just on that point, I was just gonna say, Lewis, that's an argument Jamie and I often have, because I think rest days are important. Whereas Jamie, I see Jen's commented as well about staying all day. Jamie is like that as well, but I'm like, I won't enjoy it if I'm exhausted. So I want to have rest days as well. So we have to find a balance.
Yeah, rest days are important.
Totally. Yeah, they really are. I mean, especially with younger families, they're definitely important. And not the whole day, just take an afternoon or a morning out, have a rest, and then get back into it in the afternoon. So the next question is, other than the obvious, which is your passports and your money, can you tell people the 3 things that you pack in your cases ready for your Florida trip?
That is a good question, and one that I had only thought of just before we came on. For me, it's like my camera to film on. You know, whether that's on your phone or on your camera, for me, it's important. I will just pick up on a comment that Jamie said earlier about him being really funny, and I will say that we joke about it at home. All the comments I generally get on my vlogs are, how funny is Jamie? And I think I film, I edit, I spend all this time, and he gets all the credit. But for me, it's really funny watching back. So if there's a way you can capture your memories, you know, so whether, like, say, phone or camera, that's important. And comfortable shoes. 100% are what you need. We use our Florida trips to buy Skechers every time we go, because they're the trainers that seem to withstand our Florida trips. And we were both saying the other night when we went out for a walk near us, which is not quite the same as Florida, that we need to get back there just to buy new trainers. So those are 2 things from me. I don't know, Jamie, if you've got anything you think.
No, not must-have. So I don't know. I'd take my drone, maybe. But you've got to be very careful in and around Disney flying a drone. Mine won't fly over there anyway. I like, obviously, with dive equipment. I'll take that over sometimes if I know I'm going diving. I don't know. It's a weird one, because I say you just need you. You you don't need to dress up for any occasions or anything like that. So I don't think there's anything we necessarily properly pack. No, extension lead. That's probably a must do.
Yes.
We do an extension lead where we then have a converter and take 4 plugs into one. That's a must do. I don't know if anybody else has said the same, but
that would be the first thing in my case. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we know that how many devices we have got to charge up, and I put a 6-way extension in the case with an adapter, and we know that we've got plugs. So
exactly,
that's I'm so glad that somebody's actually said that. Yeah, fourth show in, and we've got there.
Yeah.
We've got there. So
I do it when I
has been
travel for work. So yeah. I do it even then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll let's answer Paula's question then. Right in each park. Now, if I can say, rather than go through each individual park, maybe one from Disney and one from Universal, if that's okay, from both of you.
Yeah.
Or from another park, if you prefer.
No, I mean they're probably the ones I'd pick because I'm not a massive roller coaster fan like Jamie. So for me, for Disney, if I have to pick out of all of the parks, I'd probably still go Big Thunder Mountain.
It's a small world.
No, I hate that. Right, controversial. But Big Thunder Mountain is the one for me. Although for anyone that's been to DLP, it is better there, but I love it regardless. And Universal, it was between ET and Men in Black that I love. Jamie,
I'll make this one quick. So I think Flight of Passage, Hulk, Mako, Cobra's Curse. Bizarrely, if you go Busch Gardens, to be fair, quite a lot you can go there. But I think Cobra's Curse is an interesting one. It's called Cobra's Curse. I'm sure I'm going mad now, just because it makes you feel sick. Literally makes you feel sick. But yeah, there's four just off the bounce of 4 different parks.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I mean, I'm a little bit out of the Busch Gardens loop. Been there for quite some time, so I don't know them. But is it fair to say that, like me, when you go to the States, you love your food?
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
It revolves around where we're going to eat.
Right. Okay. We plan our park. I mean, I would say we plan our parks over which restaurants we want to go to. So, could you just tell us, like, in your opinion, your must-do restaurants? So, if you can do one, maybe on Disney property, maybe, and then one out property.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, do you want to go first?
I would say for me, Chef Homecoming. What is this? Yeah.
Chef Art's Homecoming.
Chef Art's Homecoming, because they do moonshine and fried chicken. Both of those I like, and I don't really drink myself. But obviously, if I can get the Disney, Lisa will usually drive that day if we are in a car, just so I can get myself some moonshine and some nice chicken. That I would class as Disney. Off property, I'm going to steal Lisa's and go. We like Texas Roadhouse, which is a steak bar that not many people know about. Now, it may not necessarily do the best steaks in the world in the sense of, prestige and luxury, but what they do is they cook it well on a barbecue, on the griddle pan, and you get that ambience. Like there's peanuts on the floor. You can literally just go in there and have fun. That's our big favourite. We go every single time. We'll always do Texas Roadhouse on there's on the 192.
Okay.
That's where we go on that one. Lisa?
Yeah, I think on site for me, Disney, I probably we went to California Grill for a special for our wedding anniversary, and for me that was a real special occasion restaurant, and also we've gone to Tepanido a couple of times, and I love the whole theatre of Tepanido at Disney. And then off-site, Jamie did steal my favourite one, but there's a few places we've been, but I just think you can't beat Hooters wings. So if you want something quick and easy, especially the day you land, we usually do Miller's Ale House or Hooters or something. So yeah.
Right. Very nice, very nice. And Kelly makes a really good point. She says, I think it's a good idea to book your restaurants before you travel, particularly on the property. It's a very good idea to do that as much as you can. You do get, if you stay on site, you're getting, you get 60 days to do that. So, it's good idea to do that for sure. So we've kind of covered quite a lot of your loves and your travel loves there, and I would love to know the three for both of you, the three absolute must-dos on your trip. Okay, so if you've got an ideal trip, what are your three absolute must-dos? Lisa, why don't you kick us off?
Oh God. Try a new restaurant every time. You know, that's a must do, to try something we've not tried before, just to see how it is. Buy a handbag is the second one, my must do. And just take as much like photos, video clips as I possibly can, to hold on to those, you know, nice thoughts when it's cold and rainy when I get back home again. They're my 3 must do's that aren't specifically anything else. I'll just have one more final one, and that's the last ride I normally do is to go on the voyage of the Little Mermaid. That's usually the last thing we do before we go home and leave the park. And I love the Little Mermaid, and that's like my closing it off, like from the holiday. So those are mine.
Very cool.
Jamie?
Very cool. Jamie?
Must do's: visit the parks after the sun's gone down. You know, if you can afford it and are that way inclined, I would go for the Halloween type event. Universal's, you know, completely different to the Mickey's Not So Scary. Either of them are awesome as an adult, and doesn't really mind being too scared at Universal. So that's one thing I'd always do. Seeing it with the lights on is so completely different to during the day. So we always do that. A must do. I would actually say go on a boat. So Disney Springs, just hop on a boat, go up to Port Orleans or something like that. Or if you're at Epcot, go across or across to the boardwalk. Just something like that. Just do something different. As in jump on those. But then I do like a lot of transport. A third one, I don't know. Like you say, it's nice on the first day to go into Magic Kingdom and just have that realization. Like we get the boat across to Magic Kingdom rather than take the monorail. But just that, like they said earlier, you feel like you're going home. And it's surreal. So that's a must do for us, is go to Magic Kingdom on the first day just to see the castle and feel like you're in that place, our special place.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, I've really enjoyed our conversation this evening. I hope you have. And again, I apologise to everybody for the technical issues. But I also just want to say, what happened here? Where did you meet these guys?
I know, who are these dodgy guys? Never seen them before.
I know.
We saw them in Disney Springs, so that was the trip that I'm just editing. That's actually on the next day, although we didn't actually film any footage of us meeting. We just happened to run into them in Disney Springs in the Disney shop. And Jamie, I think you spotted Dell first, didn't you?
Yeah, but he's quite, you know, you can't miss Dell. He's about 7'6", isn't he? So, but yeah, it was World of Disney.
Yeah,
you know, it was having a nice old chat. They just bumped into somebody else. I think that there's always people there that you kind of know, and more times you go, the more you see familiar faces.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're not even planning it. You just bump into these people. I'd say Dal and Jen, you know, they're awesome. So it's always nice to sort of bump into them. That's not the first time we bumped into them either. We bumped into them at SeaWorld.
Oh, really?
Contentious. But yeah, we'd have to bump each other there as well. So
yeah, although we didn't stop to chat, it was before we'd ever spoken to Del and Jen, and I didn't spot them, and Jamie said, "Oh, I think that was Del and Jen," and I was like, "Oh, you didn't say." So we didn't actually get to say hello on that trip. That was when we were with Katie.
That's always that nervousness, isn't it? It's like, I can't say hello to people. It's like, no, actually, generally, unless we're eating, or people are quite happy to sort of say hello. You know, obviously try not to sort of fanboy people, but at the same time, it's usually we're nice enough to say a quick hello, I like the show, or whatever. You know, we're quite friendly people. I'm just saying that on behalf of Dal and Jen now.
Yeah, because they are the most friendly. Yeah. But yeah, they're genuinely the most friendly people.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I completely and 100% agree. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for them. So it's your fault, Del and Jen. And I'm just showing a quick photo here of Katie, who broke the seat on the plane.
Yes.
So
the infamous Katie.
Just some great pictures Yes, indeed, the infamous Katie. So we are nearly at the end. Oh, there we go. There's the Virgin plane carrying across. So we are nearly at the end of our conversation. And again, thank you so much for coming on. But before you go, we have to have the 10 random quickfire questions. So
should we take
here
it
we
in
go.
turns?
So I'm going to ask. Yes. So I'm going to ask Lisa first, and then you, Jamie, if that's okay. Quick as you can. That would be lovely. First answer that comes into your head. That would be awesome. Okay. Easy one for you, Lisa. Walt Disney World or Universal Studios?
Walt Disney World.
And Jamie, British Airways or Virgin Atlantic?
Oh, contentious. Virgin Atlantic. There you go.
Okay, Lisa, here we go. This is going to be a good one for you. Go into the parks solo with Jamie.
Oh, with Jamie. Most of the time.
Jamie, I think I know the answer to this one already, but Alamo or Avis?
Alamo.
Lisa, Volcano Bay or Typhoon Lagoon?
Volcano Bay, or if your Dal is Volcano Bay.
It's harsh.
Jamie, Pandora or the Wizarding World of Harry Potter?
Oh, Pandora. It's quick fire.
Yeah. Okay. Lisa, Happily Ever After or Fantastic?
Oh, Happily Ever After. I cry floods of tears every time I watch it and every time I edit it back, no matter how many times I've seen it.
Yeah, me too. So, Jamie, Halloween Horror Nights or Mickey's Not So Scary?
No, that's a tough one. Halloween Horror Nights. Just on the basis that it's, a bit more scary. A bit more, something different.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So these last two are actually going to be for both of you. So you need to make a decision between you. I know that it's going to be difficult when you're kind of in different rooms, but hey ho, this is the way it goes. So question number 9: Homecoming or Texas Roadhouse?
Texas Roadhouse.
That was easy. And I don't know if you've got to do these attractions. I'm pretty sure that you haven't. So I'm hoping these are something to look forward to. Which one are you looking forward to the most? Would it be Rise of the Resistance or Mickey and Minnie's Railway? I did it again. I put that one in.
This is where we're going to have a difference of opinion because for me it's the Railway every day. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I think Jamie will disagree.
Rise of Resistance. We still not managed to get in there, so definitely we've got to go and experience that. Every time we've been, it's not quite. We've not made it in. So,
right. Have you been there when it's been open?
No, but we've not been in the Galaxy's Edge at all. Galaxy's Edge has been open, but we've not been into Galaxy's Edge. So we're still waiting for that one.
Well, I am 100% looking forward to both of those attractions, but Rise of Resistance for me, as a massive Star Wars fan, I can't wait to try that out. So, guys, looking ahead, I know that you have a trip planned, so can you tell us when you're hoping that your next trip will be, and what you're looking forward to the most when you get there?
We had 2 trips booked. One was next month, which we've just moved, which was to Tokyo, Disney, as well as somewhere else. But hopefully the next trip that will go ahead is in September, back to Florida. We've both got big birthdays this year and a big wedding anniversary milestone. Big, 10 years for wedding anniversary. And for me, the thing I'm looking forward to most is literally walking down Main Street and seeing that castle. Like, I'm sure the same as everyone else. I know so many people feel the same, but for me, that's a feeling that I just can't wait to have again. Jamie, I think you probably agree.
Yeah. So we say, autumn, September time we'll be going out. Fingers crossed, we are able to go and still can go. Yeah, first thing I do when I get there, I just being sat on that aeroplane. I think we're going to be so appreciative of everything going forward through what everyone's had to go through for the last year and a bit, with people losing people, and just not having the greatest of times. I literally am going to treasure every minute where we're on holiday or doing things that otherwise would have been normal. And that's it. I've just absorb it all. I think it'll be new eyes.
And Halloween Horror Nights as well. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
So we've got some people coming and showing you some love. So as you can see there, Jenny says when she gets there, she's going to cry. So this particular chap would like to know who is that hunk wearing orange. I miss him. So
Look it down.
And yes, so well, what can I say, guys? It's been brilliant having you. I do appreciate you guys coming on. If people want to connect with you, how can they go about that, Lisa?
Probably the easiest way is via Instagram. So news_from_Lisa, and then on there is also the link to the channel as well. But we're both on the Facebook group, the Get Binky Facebook group, so we're as active as we can be with as much as possible, so through there or on Instagram. And happy to talk to anyone about Florida or any holidays any time of the day. It's a nice escape.
Agreed.
And Jamie, have you got social, or do you just let Lisa do it all for you?
I let Lisa do it all for me. No, like I said, people can find us on the Facebook group. So I say Get Binky's Facebook group. You find us both on there. I don't necessarily have a channel myself, so it's just me personally. So I tend to vet a little bit more. It's not I'm not friendly, but what we do for a living is just a little bit more challenging social media side.
He basically, Lewis, you're right. He lets me do it. It's a story of his life. He's very well looked after, everyone. So, yeah. If you need him, you can get him through me.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. So there you go. Del said they got to meet you, and it was a genuine privilege. And I can only thank you guys again for your time tonight, and really thank you for your conversation. It's been a great night, and it's been really lovely to hear about other things that we can do in Florida, other than just going box. And it's been really special for me. So, guys, thank you so much. Big round of applause for you guys, and we'll,
thank you, Lewis.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. Have a great evening.
Yeah,
so,
you too.
We say goodbye to Jamie, and we say goodbye to Lisa. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. I do apologise for the technical issues that we had at the vet. The joys of being live, and as Mr. Campbell would say, anything can happen when you are live. I just want to do a couple of shout outs, if I may, first of all, before I leave you. The first one is that on Friday, there is a Get Binky charity quiz, and it would be amazing if you could part in that. Now, if you go to the Get Binky Do What Makes You Happy Florida group, then you will be able to find all the details there. Please do donate and you can win a day out with Del and Jen, and with Claire Allison from Discord, and unfortunately for you, with me, and you and my family, which is more fortunate for you. And we are donating. Your Great Adventures is very proud to be donating a 2 tickets to go and visit the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So please do go and check that out. And there's nothing really more for me to say than just to let you know that next week I will be joined with Mr. Andy Robson from the Robson family. So if you want to hear a more Florida chat, hopefully slightly less technically challenged, it would be brilliant to see you. So all that's left for me to say is if you want to get in contact with the show, you'd like to be involved in the show, I'd love to interview you. It'd be an amazing thing to do. Please get in contact with me via our Gmail account, and I'll just put that on there for you so you can see it. So it's yourfloridaadventures@gmail.com. And if you would like me to look at travel arrangements for you, please do contact me at Your Great Adventures on our Facebook page, or via lewis@yourgreatadventures.co.uk. It's free to do. It's free. We try and price match our competitors, and it's fully ABTA bonded and ATOL protected always too. So I really do hope you've enjoyed the show. If you can, please check us out on YouTube, like and subscribe, and all those brilliant stuff that's really, really helpful just to let people know. And also just please let people know. That would be awesome. So as I say, until next week, when we are joined by Mr. Andy Robson, have an amazing week, and remember, your adventure is out there. Thanks so much, guys. Good night.